beautiful coast, gigantic theme parks, and year-round sunshine are what many think of when someone mentions Florida. However, there was a time when Florida was regarded as a gator-laden quagmire, the last place anyone would want to spend time, or more importantly, money. Beginning with the opening of Florida's first major rail line in the 1880s, a competition arose between two giants of industry, Henry Flagler, the Standard Oil tycoon and architect of Florida's East Coast, and Henry Plant, a Parcel Express executive and Flagler's counterpart on Florida's West Coast. These two captains of industry would bring commerce and luxury to a state unknown to many Americans. Through their exploration of the state, Florida's fledgling agrarian economy encountered northern industrial growth, creating an exchange of ideas, culture, and capital. Florida during the antebellum and Civil War periods was a vast, uncharted peninsula unfamiliar to northern industry and technology. In addition to the fact that many northerners considered Florida a mosquito-infested swampland, a lack of transportation utilities hindered any efforts of attracting commerce.
No one would immigrate to Florida, not even from hell. U.S. Senator John Randolph, 1805.
It is into this historical mindset that Henry Plant was born in Branford, Connecticut in 1819. Recognizing a need for reliable, extensive mail routes, Plant made his fortune buying and developing parcel express companies in the South. With the outbreak of the Civil War in 1860, Henry Plant formed the Southern Express Company and made a fortune shipping Confederate goods and payrolls across the South.
Following the ruin of the Civil War, he came to Florida, where he saw great opportunities to reorganize the bankrupt railroad system in Florida.
In 1879, he bought the Atlantic and Gulf Railroad, and 1 year later the Charleston and Savannah Railroad at foreclosure sale. With these as a nucleus, he began to build along the southern Atlantic seaboard a transportation chain that would become known as the Plant System of Railways. While busy building, buying, and consolidating his railroad interest, Plant began observing activity on Florida's East Coast with a great interest, if not a touch of envy. In 1885, Henry Flagler, founder and partner of John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Corporation, sold off all his stocks in Standard Oil to pursue interest in Florida.
Chairman said he'd like to get some of his money that he had. He had a lot of money when he split the partnership. And he decided to build the Ponce de Leon Hotel in St. Augustine.
On January 10, 1888, Flagler opened the Ponce de Leon Hotel, a 540-room palace that became the largest concrete structure of the time period.
I like the place and climate, and it occurred to me that someone ought to care for the class of people who were not sick, but who came here to enjoy the climate, have the money to spend, but nowhere to spend it. Henry Flagler, 1878.
The Ponce de Leon Hotel opened to scores of millionaires, valets, maids, and press, many of whom were encountering Florida's unique culture and environment for the first time. As Flagler was experiencing tremendous success on Florida's East Coast, it was becoming clear to Henry Plant that owning his own chain of hotels would be the perfect complement to the Plant System of Railways. Plant set his sights on exploring a small outpost off the Gulf of Mexico. In 1887, he announced his plans to spend $4 million on building a state-of-the-art port and grand hotel in the city of Tampa. 4 years later, on February 5, 1891, the Tampa Bay Hotel opened its doors.
There were 511 rooms in the hotel. They had bathrooms in the rooms. They also had telephones made especially for the hotel by Bell Telephone.
Plant opened the Tampa Bay Hotel in 1891 with great fanfare. Of course, he sent an invitation to his rival, Henry Flagler, and Flagler telegrammed back, "Where's Tampa?" And Plant replied, "Follow the crowds, Henry, follow the crowds."
By consolidating a network of antebellum rail lines, as well as building several hundred miles of his own track, Plant connected his hotel to the Plant System of Railways through a 12-hour trip for the commuter. Only a decade before, exchange between the two cities had taken 2 days by wagon.
Plant's railroad made a significant difference to the growth of Tampa. The 1880 census recorded that only 720 people lived in Tampa, which was a very small geographical area as well, but that clearly indicates that we were a small town. By 1890, Tampa had over 5,000 people.
In 1893, Flagler and Plant, along with their families, took 2 trips together in which historians believe business decisions were made regarding the apportionment of Florida.
Flagler decided to divide the territory
he would take the East Coast, Plant would take the West Coast.
Shortly after these trips, Flagler decided to build 3 exclusive new hotels along the east coast of South Florida. In 1894, the Royal Poinciana Hotel opened in Palm Beach, followed by the Palm Beach Inn and Royal Palm of Miami in 1896 and 1897 respectively. In order to connect these hotels to northern markets, Flagler built what would become known as the Florida East Coast Railway. He imported thousands of immigrants, blacks, and low-paid workers into the state of Florida to connect his rail line from Jacksonville to West Palm Beach. This source